You didn't chase her, and now she wants you more than ever. Stoicism. Old Stoic wisdom. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. Ram Dass. What if the reason she's drawn to you now is because you finally stopped chasing her? You see, most men are trapped in a cycle of pursuit, trying to win affection through constant effort, grand gestures, or overthinking every move. But what they miss is this. True attraction isn't earned through pressure. It's sparked in silence. It's born when a man becomes still, grounded, and focused on his own path. Women are far more intuitive than most men realize. While you are busy battling old insecurities, self-doubt, and the echoes of past rejections, you missed the subtle signs, the glance that lingered, the way her energy shifted when you walked in, the small moments that meant more than any words. Attraction doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It arrives like a breeze, soft, calm, and undeniable to the man who knows how to feel it. And the paradox is this. The moment you stopped chasing, the moment you became content in your own presence, that's when she felt the shift. She sensed your self-respect, your emotional clarity, your peace. That's what pulled her in. Because when a man no longer needs to prove himself, he becomes unforgettable. Right now, you have a choice. You can stay blind to what's been there all along, or you can open your eyes to the truth. She noticed you not because you pushed, but because you paused. If this message opened something in you, like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I see clearly now. And remember, when you become the mountain, she will come closer to understand its silence. Number 1. The silent signals of feminine interest you often miss. The silent signs of feminine interest are not loud declarations, but subtle invitations, and most men, distracted by their own doubts, never notice them. While chasing validation, they become blind to the obvious. They analyze texts and conversations with a microscope, but miss the deeper language, the one written in glances, posture, and energy. A woman rarely says, "I want you," with words. She shows it in ways only the truly present man can perceive. The Stoic man, unlike the reactive one, lives in a state of stillness. He does not rush to interpret or force meaning. He simply sees. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." That kind of truth-seeking presence is what allows him to decode signals others miss. One of the most powerful of these is the lingering gaze, a glance that lingers longer than social norms allow, sometimes interrupted only to return again. If you notice her eyes dilating, if her stare feels magnetic rather than casual, understand, she is not just looking, she is inviting. But here's where most men falter. They get nervous, break eye contact, or overcompensate by staring intensely. The Stoic man does neither. He holds the gaze without pressure, neither chasing approval nor avoiding the intimacy. His calm gaze becomes an anchor of trust. Then, without words, comes proximity. She stands just a bit too close, finds reasons to enter your personal space, brushes against your arm in passing. These are not coincidences. They are unconscious ways of saying, "I want to be near you." And once again, the Stoic does not jump to react. He holds the frame unshaken. No nervous flinching, no eager lean in, just presence. When she finally initiates touch, a light tap during laughter, fingers that linger, a playful nudge, she's not just being cute. She's watching your response. The insecure man grabs too fast. The uncertain one withdraws. The Stoic? He simply notices. He lets the moment breathe. He neither clings nor ignores. He understands what Seneca meant when he wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In other words, he knows that reacting too fast comes from imagined outcomes, not grounded wisdom. Then comes her voice, softer, slower, with a playful rhythm, especially when you're alone. This is her leaning in emotionally. And still, the Stoic remains rooted. He listens, but doesn't lose himself. He holds his energy like a mountain, quiet, dependable, magnetic. Finally, perhaps her boldest test is the teasing challenge. She may mock your seriousness, joke about your habits, or test your edge. This is her probing for strength. She doesn't want a man who gets defensive or uptight. She wants a man who can take her challenge and smile, who can turn her test into a dance. The Stoic doesn't fight her. He flows with her energy and transforms it into connection. All of these signs, from her eyes to her words, are not commands for action, but calls for presence. They are not asking you to leap. They are asking you to stay, to remain composed, to let the moment unfold. Because attraction is not rushed, it's revealed. In real life, the man who wins her heart is not the loudest or the richest, but the most centered. Women don't fall for noise. They fall for stillness with power. And if you truly want to connect, not just impress, become the man who sees what others miss and does not flinch. Comment below, I observe without rushing. What was the most surprising silent signal you've ever noticed from a woman? Let's share our insights below. Number 2. How she quietly closes the distance. In a world where most people guard their personal space as instinctively as they guard their secrets, there exists a subtle shift when a woman becomes genuinely attracted to you, and the key to recognizing it lies not in what she says, but in how she quietly chooses to break those unspoken social boundaries. Imagine a crowded room, plenty of space, yet she chooses to stand near you, not once, but repeatedly. That's not chance. That's intention wrapped in subtlety. She may inch closer during conversation, lean in when there's no noise to justify it, or align her body towards you more often than the setting demands. This isn't just body language, it's silent strategy, a way of saying, I feel something here, without uttering a single word. And yet, this is where many men falter, misreading the moment, rushing in, interpreting closeness as a green light for bold moves. But the man who walks the Stoic path does not chase approval or react out of impulse. He remains rooted in stillness, like the ocean, vast, powerful, but calm at the surface. The Stoic man does not fill the space with words or nervous gestures. He simply holds it, and in doing so, invites her to step further into his presence. And when the touches begin, the brush of an arm, the accidental nudge, fingers grazing as you pass something, understand that these are not random. These are tests, and the way you respond says more than any pickup line ever could. The average man might jump, stumble, or suddenly turn playful. But the Stoic man, he does not flinch. He doesn't lean in too far or pull away too quickly. He acknowledges without overindulging. This is the language of grounded men. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." That strength is what she's searching for. Emotional safety isn't about being passive. It's about being present without being shaken. It's about being a man who doesn't need to rush the moment because he is the moment. Over time, her body will keep speaking. She will keep drawing closer, lingering longer, trusting deeper. And if you maintain your center, if you continue to be the calm in her storm, she will begin to associate you with a kind of rare peace that most men never offer. That's when the real connection begins, not in pursuit, but in presence. So ask yourself this: are you chasing or are you attracting? Are you forcing the moment or allowing it to bloom in its own time? True magnetism doesn't pull, it draws. And the man who can remain calm in her nearness becomes the man she keeps moving toward. Comment below. I welcome closeness without clinging. Because in the end, it's not about proving yourself. It's about being so deeply anchored in who you are that she wants to come closer, not because you asked, but because your energy gave her the freedom to choose. Number 3. The subtle power of a woman's touch. In a world where men are conditioned to chase, to prove, to constantly react in hopes of earning affection, you, by doing less, have already done more. When a woman reaches out to touch you, it's never just about contact. It's a signal, a test, a whisper of her curiosity, and only a man with true composure can decode it. The Stoics knew that power lies in restraint, and nowhere is this more true than in the subtle art of feminine touch. Unlike empty words or rehearsed flirtation, a woman's touch speaks from instinct, raw, real, and revealing. And yet, the average man misses this golden cue, either brushing it off as nothing or jumping too quickly into performance mode, eager to capitalize. But the high-value man, the Stoic man, does not chase, he observes. He does not grab at every signal. He reads them with calm poise. He is unbothered, unmoved, unshaken. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is that moment, when she places her hand gently on your arm mid-laugh, when her fingertips graze yours longer than necessary, or when she taps your shoulder during playful banter. It's not random. It's designed to ask a deeper question without words. Can you handle my energy without trying to own it? A weak man either jumps or freezes, but the man of discipline simply smiles with inner knowing. He does not react, because he understands that validation isn't to be chased, it's to be witnessed and welcomed without dependence. She expects your ego to take over, but when it doesn't, when you remain calm, present, and detached, you trigger something more powerful than attraction. You awaken intrigue. You become the rare man who doesn't need her, and therefore becomes the man she wants to figure out. That's reverse psychology at its finest. The less you show dependency, the more she leans in. The less you grasp, the more she offers. This is how you shift from being a performer to becoming the prize, from being reactive to being remembered. Your silence, your calmness, your composed reaction becomes magnetic. This dynamic creates a sacred tension. She's not repelled by your restraint, she's fascinated by it. The woman who lightly touched your arm is now wondering why you didn't flinch like the others, why you didn't instantly lean in, why you didn't try to escalate. And that wonder, that tension, becomes the fire of attraction. You didn't chase her, and now she's chasing the calm she felt in your presence. You've built a frame that speaks louder than words. I see you, I feel your energy, but I don't need it to validate mine. And that unspoken message makes you unforgettable, like a lion who doesn't roar, but whose presence shakes the ground. You didn't need to be flashy. You didn't need to be rich. You didn't need a clever line. You only needed to hold your frame. In today's world of constant noise, your silence, your emotional control, your subtle confidence become a loud declaration of self-mastery. This is not about ignoring women. This is about honoring your power. Real attraction begins not when you try to impress, but when you choose not to react. And that choice, repeated over time, turns you into the kind of man women remember. So if this truth resonates with you, if you're done chasing and ready to lead with calm strength, then hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. I recognize the touch, but I am never ruled by it. Because from now on, you no longer chase. You attract by who you are, not what you do. And that, my brother, is what separates a boy from a Stoic man. Number 4. When her voice reveals more than her words. Most men search for signs in the obvious, in words, gestures, or grand displays. But the wise man knows a woman's truest signals often live in the unspoken. Among the most overlooked of these is the shift in her voice, not the words she chooses, but the softness, the pace, the rhythm with which she speaks them. Ancient Stoics taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak, and that wisdom rings true here. A woman rarely says, "I'm into you," outright. She says it by the way her voice lowers around you, by how she slows her speech, as if savouring each second you're near. In group settings, she may be bold and expressive, animated and open, but when the 2 of you are alone, her tone changes. It softens. She draws out her words, adds more silence between them, like a dancer teasing the next move. She may even whisper, not out of shyness, but to pull you closer, not physically, but emotionally. This is not random. It is instinctual. Her voice becomes a bridge between guarded distance and vulnerable connection, inviting you across without ever saying so. And here's where most men stumble. They hear this shift and leap at it. They drop their own frame, lower their voices too much, over-smile, mirror too quickly. In doing so, they collapse the very tension her voice was crafting. What was meant to be a magnetic pull turns into a clumsy echo. And just like that, the dance is ruined. A Stoic man, however, does not react. He observes. He hears the change in her voice and registers it like a captain reading the wind, calmly, without letting it steer him off course. He doesn't lean in too eagerly. He doesn't rush to fill the silence. He doesn't interrupt the melody with his own noise. Instead, he listens with full presence, grounded and composed, letting her voice rise and fall while holding steady in his own rhythm. In doing so, he becomes the rare man who doesn't flinch in the face of feminine energy. He holds it. He lets it unfold. And that subtle restraint creates a deeper current of attraction than any compliment ever could. It's not about withholding affection. It's about creating space for her to come forward. Emotional intimacy isn't something you demand. It's something you invite by being still enough for her to feel safe within. When she senses you're not driven by the hunger to impress or possess, but by a mastery of self, she lets down her guard. She may joke, tease, draw you in with her eyes or her laugh, adding playful challenges to see if you'll break frame. But you don't. You remain composed, still, unmoved, yet fully attentive, like a mountain in a storm, not stiff, but deeply rooted. This is the art of masculine stillness, and it is magnetic. The poet Rumi once said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." And that is the essence of this moment. While others rush to speak, to respond, to pursue, you remain silent and strong, allowing her to explore her feelings through the dance of conversation, knowing she will keep returning to the man who gives her space to bloom. So ask yourself, are you listening to her words or to her music? Comment below. I let her voice guide, but I never follow blindly. Share your experience. Have you noticed this shift in her voice before? How did you respond? Let's talk in the comments. Number 5. The hidden invitation behind playful challenges. The hidden invitation behind playful challenges is where most men get it completely wrong, not because they're weak, but because they haven't been taught the deeper language women use, a language of subtle games and emotional checks designed not to humiliate you, but to reveal you. When a woman throws a teasing remark your way like, "Mr. Stoic, do you even have feelings?" or sarcastically laughs at how unfazed you are, she's not attacking you. She's knocking on the door of your presence, waiting to see how you'll answer. And here's where old Stoic wisdom separates the unshakable from the uncertain. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What you're being tested on isn't your intellect or your appearance. It's your frame, your emotional strength under pressure, your ability to remain grounded when lightly provoked. Because to her, your reaction speaks volumes about your self-command. Do you rise to the bait, or do you calmly steer the moment into something light, confident, and magnetic? A Stoic man, the kind who understands that composure is power, doesn't flinch when teased. He flows. He sees the challenge not as a threat to defend against, but as a playful dance to lead. When you respond with a smirk and say, "You'll have to stick around to find out," you're not just answering, you're setting the tone. You're telling her, without saying it directly, that you're unshaken, you're in control, and you're not afraid to enjoy the game. And that's what truly draws her in. Not forced charm, not over-explaining, but calm, effortless fun that keeps her curious. Because women instinctively gravitate toward men who can withstand a little fire without turning to ash. That's the real test, and it's one you pass not by bracing yourself, but by softening into strength. The Stoics called this apatheia, which isn't numbness, but rather emotional sovereignty, the ability to feel without being ruled by the feeling. In today's world, where reactive behavior is the norm, your ability to remain playful yet poised is what makes you exceptional. And let's be honest, the man who can smile through a challenge and lead it into laughter doesn't just attract women, he earns their respect. This isn't about being clever with words. It's about showing her, in real time, that your masculinity isn't loud, but present. So next time she tests you, don't stiffen, and don't fold. Meet her teasing with the confident ease of a man who knows who he is, because that quiet certainty is more seductive than anything you could ever say. Comment below. I don't resist the test, I enjoy it. And share a moment where your calm presence turned a tense moment into instant attraction. Your story might just inspire another man to choose composure over chaos. Number 6. The mirror effect. When she reflects your presence. Imagine this. You're sitting across from her, and without even realizing it, she crosses her legs the same way you do. A few minutes later, she starts mirroring the rhythm of your speech, tilting her head in sync with yours, smiling when you pause. Most men brush it off or never notice. Some might even ruin it by pointing it out, chasing the moment instead of owning it. But this isn't just friendly mimicry. It's her subconscious aligning with your energy, signaling trust, harmony, and attraction. In Stoic wisdom, this is not dominance. It is resonance. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality, said Seneca. The Stoic man understands this. He doesn't get excited and start performing like a showman. He observes calmly. He understands the power of presence, that his very state of being is influencing the emotional atmosphere. In the realm of ancient wisdom, the greatest influence is often the quietest. That's why when she mirrors you, it's her body's way of saying, I trust you, I feel safe with you, I want to sync with you. It's biology, it's psychology, and most importantly, it's sacred ground. The Stoic man holds this moment with reverence. He doesn't speak about it. He doesn't interrupt the dance. He simply becomes the steady flame that warms the room. Her nervous system, once guarded, is now softening, adapting to the stillness, slowing her speech, deepening her eye contact, drawing nearer, mirroring your calm. This is no accident. This is attraction built on alignment, not adrenaline. The power lies in doing nothing and being everything. Because when you are grounded, present, and emotionally composed, you give her something rare, safety. And in a world of loud men who chase and boast and overcompensate, your stillness becomes magnetic. Like Marcus Aurelius once said, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. So what should you do when she starts reflecting your presence? Nothing. That's the point. Don't comment on it. Don't try to intensify it. Let it unfold like a symphony you've already conducted in silence. Let her come closer, not because you pulled her in, but because your presence invited her without a word. Real connection doesn't need fireworks. It needs frequency. And when she senses that your frequency is stable, clear, and powerful, she tunes in. That's how emotional intimacy is born without words. So here's your rule. Lead by presence, not pressure. Influence through stillness, not strategy. Give her space to mirror you, and you'll find her stepping into rhythm with your energy, not because she was convinced, but because she was compelled. Remember, freedom is the most attractive force on earth. When you let her mirror you on her own terms, she begins to believe what she feels is real, because it is. Comment below, I lead by being, not by forcing. And if this message stirred something inside you, hit that like button, subscribe for more Stoic truths, and share your thoughts in the comments. What's one moment where your calm energy changed the dynamic without you saying a word? Let's talk real presence. Number 7. When she tries to pull you off-center. One of the most misunderstood yet powerful signs of feminine interest is this. When she tries to throw you off balance, not because she wants you to fall, but because she wants to know you can stand. You see, many men believe attraction is always soft, kind, and easy. They think if she likes you, she'll only bring peace. But that's not how deep feminine energy works. Real feminine energy flows like nature itself, sometimes calm, sometimes wild, always seeking something strong enough to contain it. And when a woman begins to care about you on a deeper level, she doesn't just want to see how you shine when things are going well. She wants to feel your stability when the emotional wind changes. She wants to test your frame, not out of cruelty, but out of instinct. Because only in that test will she know if your masculinity is real or a mask. She may start small, challenging your ideas, teasing your values, lightly criticizing your habits, or suddenly going silent after being warm and engaged. Not to push you away, but to pull your truth to the surface. She's watching. Not your words, but your reactions. She wants to see if you become defensive, if you explain yourself, if you fold into her chaos, or, worse, if you abandon your center just to regain her approval. Most men, when tested, break character. They try to win her back. They chase, they panic, they shift. But the Stoic man knows better. The Stoic man sees the game for what it is, an invitation. He does not flinch. He does not overreact. He breathes. He holds the line. He stays rooted. Because his center is not something she gave him. It's something he built. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the difference. He doesn't let her storm disrupt his silence. Instead, he becomes the mountain she can return to. A mountain doesn't chase the wind. It endures it. It embraces it. And that stillness under pressure is what awakens something primal in her. Respect, safety, desire. Because the man who doesn't shift under emotional pressure becomes the only man she can actually trust with her vulnerability. She may not say it with words, but in her testing, she is asking, "Can I bring all of me to you and know you won't collapse?" If the answer is yes, she surrenders. Quietly, naturally, powerfully. But here's the deeper truth. This doesn't just apply to her emotions. This applies to life. If you can hold your frame in the face of feminine storms, you can hold your frame in the face of the world. And that's what makes you not just attractive, but truly unshakable. So next time she challenges you, pulls away, or questions your calm, don't resist it. Don't collapse. Smile with knowing. Let her feel your consistency. Let her feel that her storm is no threat to your stillness. That's how a Stoic man earns not just attraction, but devotion. Comment below. I stay grounded, even in her storm. And share your experience. Has a woman ever tested your calm? How did you respond? Your story might just help another man choose strength over reactivity, presence over panic, and composure over chaos. All right, brother. Thank you for sticking through this message. It's been real. Now let's bring it home. You came into this with doubts. You weren't sure if what you were seeing were real signs or just your mind playing tricks. But now you see it clearly. The signs were there all along, subtle, soft, feminine, and powerful. She didn't need to say a word. Her presence spoke. And you've learned to listen, not with desperation, but with discipline. That's Stoicism in action. That's old wisdom meeting modern clarity. You've realized something most men never do, that you don't need to chase to be wanted. You just need to be rooted, calm, and fully present in your own energy. The man who stands still in his power becomes the one women move toward. That's not game, that's truth. So here's my advice to you. Protect your peace, sharpen your awareness, and never trade your masculine stillness for momentary attention. Because the moment you stop chasing is the moment she starts noticing. If that hit home, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below saying, "I am unstoppable." I'll be right there reading everyone. Stay sharp, stay steady. You're no longer the man who doubts, you're the man she chooses.